Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La Yahaba Shimya Shaba Shunakakudash, and double honors to the greatest and apostles. Thadi Shah for the strength in order to make this video, and Yaratazar you find it edifying. Of course, Yaratazar that it helps to open your eyes as well. So, as I named the video, his miracles will take up the unwise. Because really, if you ain't got the wisdom of the scriptures, which is the fundamental, as you always hear Akim emphasize, we need the wisdom of the scriptures in order to have a defense against Esau's psychological tactics. If that's a way of putting it. Because with his ways of persuasion and with his tongue, I'm gonna get a precept on that shortly. These are ways in which Esau uses in order to influence the mass population to really obey what he intends for them to obey for, which really to make them obey Esau so that he could lead them really to their own destruction. If we're going to simplify that, but it's to really obey, to make the people obey him for his agenda. Just trying to put that into simpler words there. But yeah, let me get a precept first before I play this video. Alright, this is Psalms 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So, of course, where the phrase says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, he has his persuasion techniques, man. Psychological tactics in order to make people do what Esau intends them to do, which really is by the Most High's will anyways. To make people to follow Esau to their own damnation. Let me read in the NLT, Psalms 55 and verse 21. His words are as smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are as soothing as lotion, but underneath are daggers, man. So that's something you can't trust right there. Despite him seemingly being good, when I say seemingly, I mean upon surface, he looks as though, right, he's trying to help you. By the end of the day, no, he's trying to destroy you. You never trust thine enemy, as it says in Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10. But anyways, let me actually get back to the video because that's the core focus of it. Because really, in fact, let me just read the title. It says, could an AI app help us talk to the dead? So, of course, this will already spark up some thoughts for Aki, man, as you're watching this video here. Because we're not commanded to deal with familiar spirits, which I'm gonna get that. But I'm gonna get to the point in this video. So let me just play it, and I'll get the precepts. And it shouldn't be too long of a video.
Hello, welcome to AI Decoded. Artificial intelligence is transforming film faster than most of us realise, not just in the special effects we may or may not notice on the screen, but in the vast array of tools that are reshaping the writing, the casting, the creation of lifelike images. The change is unmistakable, whole workflows are changing, and entirely new creative possibilities are opening up. We're going to look at that from two different perspectives this week. Dr. Stephanie Hare is here. Also, Mark Cheeslack, who's been making his own Hollywood production this week. It's a sort of Game of Thrones meets Dante's Peak. We'll let you critique it later in the programme. But also with us this week, the actor Caelan Worthy. You may have seen him in the Disney series Austin and Ally. Caelan, welcome to the programme.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, Caleb is the co-founder of an AI company called Two Way, and they have launched an app that creates AI avatars of yourself, maybe a digital twin, of a loved one, or of a historical figure that you can interact with in real time. It's also being marketed as a way to preserve and give everlasting life to the older members of the family that could soon.
Which is an illusion, by the way. Esau can't give no everlasting life, man. He cannot give anything pertaining to everlasting life. He could try, but the Most High limits him in his ability to do so. And the only pinnacle in terms of achievement which he would achieve is that transhumanism agenda pertaining to implants. Revelation 13 verse 16 to 18.
or of a historical figure that you can interact with in real time. It's also being marketed as a way to preserve and give everlasting life to the older members of the family that could soon die. The ad they've just launched at the last count.
So, in other words, Esau's trying to duplicate the spirit, man. He's trying to duplicate consciousness, which is what the spirit is. You know, without the spirit, the body is really it's nothing. It's just dirt in it. You know, that's why when a person dies, the spirit goes on to Yahweh Shem Yashad. The spirit goes on to the Most High who created it. So let me get that precept and then I'll get back to this. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. So really, all those people who have a fear of, oh, I don't know where we go when we die. Me and my weak British accent there. But anyways, the point is that it says, Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 7, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was. So the body, the physical body, when a person dies, you know, of course, is buried in the ground. It says, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. So of course the spirit, you know, people call it a consciousness, you know, which is what the spirit is, you know, being aware of just being aware in it. You know, that which that is rooted in the spirit, then goes back to the Most High who created it, who created your spirit. So, you know, so that's why we don't really fear, you know, the as some may call it, the afterlife, because we know when a person dies, you just go back to the throne, and of course the decrees are made, you know, which pertain to your spirit, and then whenever the next round to go is, you know, you then come back here and then you suffer your judgment, you know, because this is really the place of judgment, man. But anyways, let me focus on the topic today, man. Yeah, I got another precept as well. Because Esau, the heathens, they don't know what's in the afterlife. They have an illusion of what's in the afterlife, but this is how most of them reason, especially these Edomites. So Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, verse 1 to verse 3 says, for the ungodly, which Esau is regarded as an ungodly man, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. Of course, they haven't heard of Yahweh Shai, man. But nevertheless, this is Esau's reasoning. This is the heathen's reasoning. You know, but as I said, pertaining to Edomite. So verse 2, for we are born at all adventure, and we shall have hereafter as though we had never been, for the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our hearts, which being extinguished, our body shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish in the soft air. But of course, to an unlearned man, you think that, oh, is this it? You know, is that all there is? No. We just read, you know, in Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 7, you know, the spirit goes into the Most High who gave it. That's why it says it again, Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 7, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. That's why it's important to read precept upon precept, you know, line upon line, because of course you get a more well-rounded understanding. You get the balance of the understanding instead of just warping and focusing on just one precept and just making a conclusion that's not balanced there, man. What's it? Verse 10, I believe. So Isaiah 28 and verse 10, for precept must be upon precept, line upon line. Hold on. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. You see, because of course, you know, you got to get some information from another side of the scriptures. You get some more information from the other side of the scriptures as well. But collectively, they help to make a solidified point, man. You know, through the Holy Spirit, through Har HaKodesh, you'll be able to discern that too. You know, so, all right, let's get back to the video now. So again, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 3, about the spirit vanishing. No, the spirit doesn't just vanish into thin air like some flipping smoke or something. No. It goes on to the Most High He gave it, as we established in Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 13. And this is the wisdom that gives us stability, when it comes to certain things like Esau's trying to threaten us in the time to come, with death, man. But we know Yahweh Shem Yahshua will fortify our minds and our spirits. Alright, so let's play this video now.
Older members of the family that could soon die. The ad they've just launched, at the last count, had 41 million views. Take a look.
He's getting bigger. See?
Oh, honey, that's wonderful.
Kicking like crazy.
He's listening. Put your hand on your tummy and hum to him. You used to love that.
It feels like he's dancing in there.
Oh, honey.
Mom, would you tell Charlie that bedtime story you always used to tell me?
Once upon a time, there was a baby unicorn who didn't know he knew how to fly. This baby unicorn was like your mom because she didn't know that she knew how to fly, but she knew how to do all kinds of fabulous things.
Hi, Grandma.
Hey, Charlie. How was school today?
It was really fun. I made this crazy shot in basketball.
I don't really care that much about basketball. What about the crush?
Stop. Grandma, stop talking.
Just tell me one thing.
Look who's going to be a great grandmother.
Oh, Charlie. Oh, congratulations.
She says that he's been kicking a lot, though. Like, a little too much.
Tell her to put her hand on her tummy and hum to him. You loved that.
You would have loved this moment.
You can call anytime.
And imagine, this is one of them strong delusions, illusions, of which Esau would have people of the world to put their trust in. Imagine, this is an AI avatar, man, which is basically like a duplicate of a person's personality, a person's character. Again, Esau's trying to duplicate the spirit, man, the best way he can. Now, of course, this is orchestrated, for advertising purposes. But that's what Esau's trying to do, man. He's trying to duplicate the spirit, basically. To try and be as a comfort for people, man. A false comfort for people. So again, I'm gonna get a preset. Hold on, let me just let this play a bit more.
Caleb, that has stirred quite the debate. So let's begin with what the app does and who might want to use it.
So during the SAG-AFTRA WJ strike, I became very fearful of AI. I didn't want my likeness or my work being used without my permission. And I also noticed that a number of chatbots were posing as myself, and I was getting deepfaked online. I felt very out of control. And so my co-founders and I decided the best way to combat this issue was to create a platform that puts each person in control and protects your digital AI presence. So in the 2A app, only you can make an avatar of yourself. You own your name, image, and likeness, and all of your data. We don't train your data, and we don't sell your data. We are here to amplify your presence, not replace you.
How does that work? How is your avatar protected, and how do you differentiate it from maybe another Caleb that's out there?
So we can't stop all deepfakes online. What we can do is create the verified check mark next to your avatar that has your information in it. So in the 2A app, you record yourself for 3 minutes, and then you tell your avatar what you want your avatar to know. We call it the brain of the avatar. And you can upload text documents. You can speak into it as a voice recording. You can transcribe videos or podcasts. You can upload, if you've written a book, you can upload that book into your avatar's brain. And this means that it's a closed data set where it only accesses the information that you want it to know and nothing that you don't want it to know. So it does accurately represent who you are.
And presumably from your perspective, you can commercialize that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I have millions of followers on social media, but about 50% of the people that have watched the programs I've been on for the last 20 years are in countries where English isn't necessarily the first language they speak. And I've always felt very guilty because I can only speak English and a little bit of French because I'm Canadian. And, but I've always wanted the ability to be able to interact with my fan base on a global scale in every language. 2A provides that ability where I can now speak 80 different languages, speak in real time, and communicate in my authentic voice, but in their native language.
Right, but the reason this has suddenly burst into the limelight, which is great for you, is that there's a whole conversation about talking to an avatar of the dead. Okay, because that raises some really huge questions about consent, grief, and how we process grief, and ethics. Whether we want to be an eternal avatar over which, when we're gone, we have no agency. So,
Which that. Oh boy. That's not let me just get a preset. Hold on. No, as I was saying, that's not hold on, what was even my point? That's not the when a person is passed away, the spirit goes on to the Most High. The spirit don't go into some flipping phone or application where you have a duplicate of yourself. No, that's a duplicate and just an imitation to fake the real person, which the real spirit is actually with the Most High, man. So again, Esau's known as a deceiver. That great serpent in the garden is a representative of him. It's a metaphor for him. So let me get this precept. This is Leviticus 19 verse 31, which this is like a weak manner of this AI duplicating spirits, which he's not duplicating spirits, he's just imitating the characteristics, the personality of the person. But this is quite close to it. This is Leviticus 19 verse 31. What are the laws of what Israel is not supposed to do? It says, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord Yahweh, your power. Now it says here in verse 31 in the NLT, do not defile yourselves by turning to mediums or to those who consult the spirits of the dead. I am the Lord Yahweh, your power, man. So let me get the root word of familiar spirit there. So Leviticus 19 and verse 31, the root word for familiar spirits.
Strong's H178. Ove. Ove.
So ove, which means it says water skin bottle, but the key meaning, it says necromancer. Necromancer, one who evokes the dead, ghost, spirit of a dead one. Practice of necromancy, one that has a familiar spirit. So when it refers to familiar spirit, that's talking about invoking the dead, as it says here, bringing up the spirit of a dead person. I believe hold on, what's his name? Saul tries to bring back Samuel via a witch, and then Samuel was quite he did not like that. Let's just say that, man. Let me see if I can get, I believe it's in one of the latter chapters. It's a quick, brief one. Or not First Samuel 1. In fact, let me. So it should be in First Samuel about either 29, 30, or 31. Hold on. Well, that's probably in 31 then. If I don't find it, I might have to search it up. But I know it's in the latter chapters of First Samuel. Right, so it was chapter 28. And I'll start from verse 3. As it's named, it says Saul and the spirit medium. And on the right, it says Saul consults a medium, which really just went to a diviner, a witch, in other words, or a wizard, to bring up Samuel, man, from the dead, or really bring up his spirit. But let's read it. So it's 1 Samuel 28 and verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits, those who evoke the dead, as we read before in Leviticus 19 and verse 31, and the wizards out of the land. So he pretty much casted all them away. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem, Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched to Gilboa. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. So, of course, he saw the mass number of the Philistines, and he saw his downfall before him. Anyways, let me just keep reading. And when Saul inquired of the Lord, the Lord Yahweh answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets, man. So there was no access that he had, man. There was no access at all. Now it says, verse 7, then said Saul unto his servants, that's why you don't want Yahweh Bashim Yashai to turn back their backs, against you, man. And that's why we pray for mercy, we pray for grace, and we say Thadiel, Thadiel Shai. In our ignorance, well, I say in our ignorance, but really, in our ignorance, because when we were in the world before, he had mercy on us without us even realizing him. Before we even were awake, we were protected. We had mercy from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So really, in our ignorance, we say Thadiel, Thadiel Shai for tolerating us, and as well guiding us and protecting us in our ignorance. And when we're aware, for also providing us strength to keep going as well, and to keep serving him, and for keeping our Kodash upon our vessels, keeping us humble, and really to ensure that we keep doing our job as servants of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Anyways, continuing. So 1 Samuel 28 and verse 7. Then said Saul unto his servant, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. You see? So after casting all the familiar spirits, Saul wanted to consult with one as well. So really he was on a done out case anyways, as we read in Leviticus 19 and 31. Not supposed to deal with them. But yeah, verse 8, it says, and Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. So of course, literally, Saul wanted to speak to Samuel, and he wanted a witch to pretty much bring up his spirit, man. So of course, even on the left hand side, they're tapped in, man. They're tapped in. But the point is, we got to be tapped into the right hand side, so that Yara Tazar were protected, and of course, because really the right hand side is more powerful than the left hand side. But don't underestimate the left hand side, because the Most High, he controls both sides at the end of the day. So verse 9, and the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest that what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die? You see, so the witch reasoned, man. He was like, Saul made a decree. Is this a trap that you're trying to put me in? So that was the reasoning of the witch there. And I said in verse 10, and Saul sware to her by the Lord Yahweh, saying, as the Lord Yahweh liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Yeah, so Saul was giving his word there. Anyway, so verse 11, then said the woman, whom shall I bring? And he really did it in vain anyways, man, because it's like you're swearing by the Most High, and you're consulting with the Spirit. So yeah, man. To be fair, even at the beginning, or near the beginning, I'll say about chapter 9, 1 Samuel chapter 9, the beginning of Saul, before his downfall, he was already prophesied by the Most High that, he would give Israel a king, but it won't be profitable for Israel. Anyways, let's continue reading. So it says in verse 11, then said the woman, whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. Yeah, so she discerned in the spirit, like, yeah, man, this ain't a regular man. This is King Saul here. Now verse 13, and the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, oh, not just that as well, but also the heavy spirit that Samuel had, man, as a prophet as well, man. It's like she knew she ain't supposed to be tampering with that level of spirit. Because remember, there's levels to spirit as well. There's levels to spirits. You know, you got of course, the Mosai Yahweh, you got Yahushai, you know, you got the 12, you know, disciples of Yahushai. And of course you got the elect as well, 144,000, the governing body, you know, you got the 1/3. But there's rankings in the spirit, man. You know, that's why the order has to be respected. So 1 Samuel 28 verse 12, and the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. And the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. You know, so of course, again, there's levels to spirits. It says, and he said unto her, what form is he of? Actually, let me read in the NLT as well. In verse 13. 1 Samuel 20 and 13 says, don't be afraid, the king told her. What do you see? I see a power coming out of the earth, she said. And it's true, Samuel is a power as well. Samuel is a power in that form that is in. And also, really, in the final form, you know, that'll be, I guess you could see it as the physical parts of being a power. Because really, going into the elect, as we get beamed up Yaharatazar, get into those new bodies, and then we descend down, we wrap up Esau for slavery, we're going to be in the bodies of powers, in the bodies of gods, lowercase g, as you can see here, which is the emphasis, the lowercase g. Because we know the Most High, Yahweh, he's the ultimate God. You know, and then you got the gods below him as well. And then again, there's ranks. So back to the KJV on the left side, verse 14. And he said unto her, what form is he of? And she answered, an old man cometh up. And he answered, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel. And he stopped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. Verse 15. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me? So you've disturbed me. I'm reading the NLT too. To bring me up. And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me. And the Most High has departed from me, and answered me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. So verse 15, why have you disturbed me by calling me back? I'm reading it in the NLT now, the right side. Why have you disturbed me by calling me back? You see, because it's peaceful up there, man. When a person dies, you ain't got to worry about pain, or you ain't got to be anxious about anything. You know, who's going to do what you're going to need to prepare. No more problems or unnecessary stresses. You know, so really, all that weight is it's removed from your vessel, man, from your spirit. You know, when you're up there with the Most High in the spiritual realm. Now it says, why have you disturbed me by calling me back? Samuel asked Saul, because I am deep in trouble. Samuel asked Saul, because I am deep in trouble. Saul replied, the Philistines are at war with me, and the Most High has left me and won't reply by prophets or dreams. So I have called for you to tell me what to do. You see, so really, the way of accessing Samuel was a done-out case, man. Saul was struggling to accept his which to be fair, you know, that's a scary thing, you know, when the Most High turns his back. You know, imagine you were just chosen as the guy to really be the downfall. You know, the Most High propped him up from 1 Samuel chapter 9 onwards. You know, he had a story, and then eventually the evil spirit came upon him. He kept chasing David. Then, you know, imagine he was just chosen just to be an example of what an evil king would be like. Yeah, so, you know, it's quite a scary thing, but that's why we've got to pray for mercy. And of course, say Thadi Al Shai for the strength He's given us day by day, day to day. And also for just, again, just mercy, man, grace. So it says, then said Samuel, because we're in this flesh as well, man. So in this 1 Samuel 28 verse 16, then said, in the KJV, so left side now, then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord Yahweh is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? NLT, but Samuel replied, why ask me, since the Lord Yahweh has left you and has become your enemy? It's true though. It's like, if the Most High has left you, why are you calling me? Because his word is the final word. What do you think I won't be able to do? That's pretty much the reasoning that Samuel was bringing out here. Verse 17, and the Lord Yahweh hath done to him as he spake by me. So KJV here. And the Lord Yahweh hath done to him as he has spake to me, for the Lord Yahweh hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand. So he's ripped away the kingdom out of his hand, the hand of Saul, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David. So David is the real inheritor, of the Israel in this time, of course, within the context of this chapter here as well, or this time period, I should say. So it says, verse 18, because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord Yahweh, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek, which again was the cost of disobedience, therefore hath the Lord Yahweh done this thing unto thee this day. It says, moreover, the Lord Yahweh will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me, and the Lord, which basically means you're going to die. The Lord Yahweh shall also deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. I know I'm giggling, but it's that damn, man. When you're reading it, this is some serious stuff, man. It was, oh my days. But yeah, because where it literally said, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. This is a spirit that is talking to you, man. This is Samuel's spirit that is talking to you. So imagine that. So clocked on in his mind, like, oh damn, he's gonna die. He gonna die. So let's read verse 20. It says, then Saul fell straightway all along the earth and was so afraid. He was already afraid just from the sight of the Philistines. But now after talking to Samuel, he was on another level of fear. But that's because he had the absence of the Most High from him, man. So anyway, Salaki, well, I say Salaki, but really it was through the spirit that I was getting into, because he disturbed Samuel, by consulting with a familiar spirit, man. Which again, I was referring to this video here as it's named by BBC News. Hold on. By BBC News here. It says, can an AI app help us talk to the dead? And of course, you're not supposed to consult with the dead, which Saul did. That's an example. And really, that disturbed Samuel's spirit as well. So, yeah, man, that's a situation no one ought to be in. No one should be in. But back to the lesson, though. Yaratas, I'm going to get a few precepts. I'm going to wrap it up.
We have no agency. So how do you reassure people about that?
Well, first of all, I understand that people have a fear of AI. And there's a lot of reasons to be afraid. To be frank, I'm afraid. That fear is partly what inspired us to develop this company in the first place. But just to be clear, you cannot create an avatar of anyone who has already passed into because that person doesn't have agency over what their avatar says. We're not a grief type platform. The value is not for the generation necessarily who's grieving the person who's passed. The value is really for the generations who would never have had a chance to meet that person. So I created my avatar. I inserted all of this information and my...
See, notice what he said. For the generation who were never able to meet the person. In fact, let him talk a little bit and get some preset and wrap it up.
Thoughts, my perspectives and life stories into its brain. And so when I do pass away, my great-great-great-grandchildren will be able to ask me questions and understand who I was. I would love to be able to go back to my ancestors 200 years ago who are in the UK and ask them what it was like growing up in England in the year 1825.
Now they see. Again, let me just get the preset, man. The point is proven. It's proven. Again, this is Esau's weak way to imitate familiar spirits, man. And if you were to fast forward probably a few years ahead with that type of company, You know, it'll be demons that people will be speaking to, man. And all you gotta search up is AI deletions. I know I said it. You know, people taking their lives, you know, because of AI. There's many of them. You know, I did quite a few videos on that as well. But just search that up, man. You see the influence of demons using the technology. But anyways. But yeah, it depends on the intent of the person. Of course, it's a tool that can be used, but depending on how you use it, you suffer the effects thereof. All right, let me start from verse 13. So Revelation 16 and 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. Which, you know, the 3 unclean frogs is really referring to one of them being the military might of Esau Edom, the Babylon, the American military, you could liken it onto. And then you got the religious aspect of the religious side, which is the second unclean frog. Again, the Vatican. The third one also being the financial side, which of course you can liken as the UK, specifically London, or even City of London. You know, the financial part of the beast, or the third unclean spirit, the third unclean frog. Now it says, "For they are spirit," verse 14, which is the key part. It says, "For they are the spirits of devils." You know, working miracles, so deceivers, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty. You know, so of course, the key word was really working miracles, but those are false miracles. An example of the miracle is that video dead, man, that I had. You know, that I was playing, you know, BBC News, where they want to try and get people to interact with the dead. We've already established how the Most High is the Most High's standpoint when it comes to these things. You know, you're not supposed to consult familiar spirits. That's like playing around in that area. But anyways, final preset, then Yaratas, I'm gonna close it out, man. But the point is proven, man. So Proverbs 14 and 15, the simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. So a person with foresight into the future, which we have very strong foresight based on these scriptures, looketh well to his going. We look well to our going, man. You know, that's why we reason with the scriptures. You know, so Yaratazar, you found it edifying and exhorting. Edify meaning to build up, exhort meaning to encourage, and yeah, Shalom, Yabashim Shabrakatha, Kahalaim La Yabashim Shabashim Kagudash. Once more, double honors to the great and apostles, and to the elder bishops of Great Millstone, Shalom, Yabashim Shabrakatha.